What's up, What's up? What's up? What's up? You guys are at the Gap Mastermind, where we talk about growth, action, and production. And today's a little special. Today's a little bit different because today I really want to talk to you guys about like what I see happening in the marketplace. And it's funny, and I'm not going to say this person's name, but they're like, Gil, you're always so optimistic, right? And I wanted to kind of share with you guys why I feel like for the very first time in my entire life, I see something that we can all capitalize at the same time. And I got to tell you, it comes from a lot of pain. You see, multiple times in my life, and I want to tell you, I'm 53 years old right now. Multiple times in my life, I saw something, thank you. I saw something happen right in front of my eyes, and I was scared. I was scared to capitalize. I was scared to take action in the moment, even though I thought it might be good, even though I thought it was going to be great. In fact, one of the things I have to tell you, I don't have a lot of regrets in my life, but like there was my mom had just retired. She'd been a nurse all her life, and she had her 401k, and it wasn't a tremendous amount, but it was her check, and it had come in the mail. And she's like, "Hey, what do you think I should do with this?" And I had this check sitting in my hand, and I'm like, "Well, you got to invest it." And she tells me about this company. She's like, "Do you think I should put it in Facebook?" And I want you to know that Facebook at time was like $12, 15 bucks. And and I was like, well, maybe put a little bit there, blah, blah, blah. But she was asking me, should I put it all on Facebook? Now, I want you to know that if I had said yes to that question, if I didn't have fear in my heart, if I knew with the certainty that I have now about what's happening right now, if I had the same certainty back then, my mom would have $17 million in her bank account. I want you to know she doesn't have $17 million in her bank account because I didn't have the courage to give her the guidance because I didn't know no. And have you ever been in a situation where you know something, but you don't know no? Like knowing something is, I should be making my calls every day. Knowing something is, I should be doing my videos every day. I've been doing a lot of trainings. I've been through a lot of different stuff. Today's not going to be one of those trainings. Today's what I'm hoping for is to unlock you on something you already know so we can do something about it. So we can start building some wealth, right? So today we're going to talk about growth. And we're going to really execute our plan on taking action. I'm going to ask you to do 2 or 3 things for me at the end of this call, right? So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully we can get this going without a hitch here. But hey guys, it's good to see you guys. It's good to see you all ready to go, and you've got some friends on the call. And I just want to make sure that we honor everybody. This is going to be a great call if you are ready to unlock. And some of you guys may think you're ready. We're going to find out. We're going to find out with who takes action today. So let me get my little share screen button going. Oh, that's not it. For some reason, my share screen button is hidden. Let me make this a little smaller. And then we've got a few people also on this call too. I think that are planning on jumping in here as well. Veronica's going to jump in just a moment and kind of share why she's excited about the market. But if I can't get this to go, it doesn't look like it's going to go up on the screen. Franny, maybe you can help me, but I don't know why it won't let me put it up on the screen. Meeting has been transcribed. I'm going to go without it. All right. So I'm just curious, guys. We're going to go without it. I want to know what would you do if you knew? If you knew what was happening in the marketplace before it happened. Now I'm talking about like you knew, like and going back, I told you about my mom and I had that check in her account. She would have $17 million in her account. Um, and now she's retired and she doesn't have anywhere near anything like that. And I'm like, man, I knew some information, but I didn't know no. And like I knew that when even though I love Blockbuster, that Netflix was cool. I knew that when it was buffering, it wouldn't always buffer, but I didn't know no. I didn't know that it was going to take away my icon, my Friday, my Tuesday, ritual. I knew that while as much as I love Circuit City, the truth of the matter is that the sales were dwindling, right? And there was this thing called Amazon. And the truth of the matter is, when Amazon came in, I didn't really love it. I really didn't love Netflix in the beginning because why would I want to wait 2 days? What I didn't know was the vision that it would start with 2 days, and then one day it'll be here this afternoon. One day it'll be here in 2 hours. One day they'll have some freaking drone come in and bring it to me in a few minutes later. I didn't see that. See, I knew it was special. I knew it was something, but I didn't know the way I know right now that it was going to shut down and disrupt the marketplace, right? Like if you think about that real estate market that we came in the last 5, 10, 15 years, we always say the same thing. We always say, if I would have known back in 2009, I'd have bought everything. I'd have bought everything. We always say that. And you want to know why you say that all the time? Because it never changes. You got to know that inflation's built into the economy. It has to happen. Like it's going to happen every single year forever. We're always going to have inflation. And what I learned in the last little bit during the COVID section when eggs started becoming $15 a dozen, and I was like, man, if everything's going to get more expensive, I need to have things that are getting more expensive. In other words, I need to own the eggs, right? And that I saw asset prices go up, and I talked to some friends of mine. I'm like, yep, of course it's going up. We're in a cycle. Tony Robbins talks about it all the time. There's 4 seasons. There's winter, spring, summer, right? And then fall. And then the next season comes in, and we've been in winter for such a long time, right? The homeowners have been stuck in their homes for 1,000 different reasons. From like now they because they were in low interest rates and COVID happened and all these different reasons they've just been stuck and they haven't moved. And then interest rates shot up and they're still in their homes, unhappy as hell, and they're just looking to make a move. And what if one thing pops, right? And you don't need a crystal ball to see what's happening in the real estate market. You already know we're in the tail end of winter. Somebody tell me what happens after winter. Just say it out loud.
Spring?
Right. It's not. You already know these answers, and I'm going to make it. It may come in a little overly simplified, but in spring, what happens to flowers? They grow. They bloom. Right. So, what would you do if you were a real estate market expert and you knew the facts, you knew the cycles, you knew what was going to happen, you knew that the economy right now is in a position. I got to get these slides up here because these slides are awesome. Let me see if I can just one more time get these slides to go up there for you guys because I just don't have a share button on my screen. Anybody ever knew what happened to the share button?
Yeah,
I would love to.
Gil, I think in the very beginning, when you start the Zoom, I think that's when you have to click that you can share your screen if you want to go out and come back in. Has anybody done that? I've had to do that.
I think you need to be the host. You need
Dollars in her bank account. I want you to know she doesn't have $17 million in her bank account because I didn't have the courage to give her the guidance because I didn't know. And have you ever been in a situation where you know something, but you don't know? Like knowing something is, oh, I should be making my calls every day. Knowing something is, I should be doing my videos every day. I've been doing a lot of trainings. I've been through a lot of different stuff. Today's not going to be one of those trainings. Today's what I'm hoping for is to unlock you on something you already know so we can do something about it. So we can start building some wealth, right? So today we're going to talk about growth. And we're going to really execute our plan on taking action. I'm going to ask you to do 2 or 3 things for me at the end of this call, all right? So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully we can get this going without a hitch here. But hey guys, it's good to see you guys. It's good to see you all ready to go, and you've got some friends on the call. And I just want to make sure that we honor everybody. This is going to be a great call if you are ready to unlock. And some of you guys may think you're ready. We're going to find out. We're going to find out with who takes action today. So let me get my little share screen button going. Oh, that's not it. For some reason, my share screen button is hidden. Let me make this a little smaller. And then we've got a few people also on this call too. I think that are planning on jumping in here as well. Veronica's going to jump in just a moment and kind of share why she's excited about the market. But if I can't get this to go, it doesn't look like it's going to go up on the screen. Franny, maybe you can help me, but I don't know why it won't let me put it up on the screen. Meeting has been transcribed. I'm going to go without it. All right. So I'm just curious, guys. We're going to go without it. I want to know what would you do if you knew? If you knew what was happening in the marketplace before it happened. Now I'm talking about like you knew, like and going back, I told you about my mom and I had that check in her account. She would have $17 million in her account. Um, and now she's retired and and she doesn't have anywhere near anything like that. And I'm like, man, I knew some information, but I didn't know no. And like I knew that when even though I love Blockbuster, that Netflix was cool. I knew that when it was buffering, it wouldn't always buffer, but I didn't know no. I didn't know that it was going to take away my icon, my Friday, my Tuesday, ritual. I knew that while as much as I love Circuit City, the truth of the matter is that the sales were dwindling, right? And there was this thing called Amazon. And the truth of the matter is when Amazon came in, I didn't really love it. I really didn't love Netflix in the beginning because why would I want to wait 2 days? What I didn't know was the vision that it would start with 2 days and then one day it'll be here this afternoon. One day it'll be here in 2 hours. One day they'll have some freaking drone come in and bring it to me in a few minutes later. I didn't see that. See, I knew it was special. I knew it was something, but I didn't know the way I know right now that it was going to shut down and disrupt the marketplace, right? Like if you think about that real estate market that we came in the last 5, 10, 15 years, we always say the same thing. We always say, if I would have known back in 2009, I'd have bought everything. I'd have bought everything. We always say that. And you want to know why you say that all the time? Because it never changes. You got to know that inflation's built into the economy. It has to happen. Like it's going to happen every single year forever. We're always going to have inflation. And what I learned in the last little bit during the COVID section when eggs started becoming $15 a dozen, and I was like, man, if everything's going to get more expensive, I need to have things that are getting more expensive. In other words, I needed to own the eggs, right? And that I saw asset prices go up, and I talked to some friends of mine. I'm like, yep, of course it's going up. We're in a cycle. Tony Robbins talks about it all the time. There's 4 seasons. There's winter, spring, summer, right? And then fall. And then the next season comes in, and we've been in winter for such a long time, right? The homeowners have been stuck in their homes for 1,000 different reasons from like now they because they were in low interest rates and COVID happened and all these different reasons. They've just been stuck and they haven't moved. And then interest rates shot up and they're still in their homes unhappy as hell. And they're just looking to make a move. And what if one thing pops, right? And you don't need a crystal ball to see what's happening in the real estate market. You already know we're in the tail end of winter. Somebody tell me what happens after winter. Just say it out loud.
Spring?
Right. It's not. You already know these answers, and I'm going to make it. It may come in a little overly simplified, but in spring, what happens to flowers? They grow. They bloom. Right. So, what would you do if you were a real estate market expert? And you knew the facts, you knew the cycles, you knew what was going to happen. You knew that the economy right now is in a position. I got to get these slides up here because these slides are awesome. Let me see if I can just one more time get these slides to go up there for you guys because dollars just these work out for me. All right, so I want to show you. I want to go back. It's like the truth of the matter is you don't need a crystal ball to know what's happening in the real estate market. It's happening. It's happening, and either you're going to do something or you're going to sit like me with your mom's check in your hand, the future legacy of your entire family, and you're not going to make a decision. So now that you know some things are happening in the marketplace, but do you know? Do you know that we have the lowest interest rates we've had all year right now? People talk about interest rates are high. That's the lowest it's been all year. Look at the chart. The thing is, nobody's posting charts that this is the lowest interest rate that we've had all year. You want to know the other chart? People are actually making more money than they ever have. That chart since 2006. Since 2006, incomes have gone up. But all people want to talk about is how many jobs we've lost and how much nobody's getting paid and blah, blah, blah. But the average person's making more money than they have. Of course it is. Of course they have. Look, dude, when I first started, when I when I first job, do you know that I got paid minimum wage and I thought I was awesome because I got the chance to get minimum wage? I was getting paid $4.25, right? I don't know what minimum wage is right now. I know it's like $10 or $12, or it might be even higher in some places, but people are actually getting paid them more. It doesn't feel like that because there's inflation, right? But they're getting paid more than they ever have. Now, do they have things that are also inflating is really the question, right? And I've been saying this all the time, but Florida's on sale. But guess what? The whole nation's on sale, right? Florida is down 21%. Florida, 21% of houses have had price reductions. But the truth of the matter is, uh, Maine's had 22%, Oregon's had 27%, Texas is at 22%. And in certain markets, like in the actual Orlando market, is closer to 40 to 50% of the homes have had a price reduction. Many people in Orlando right now have a listing and they've done multiple price changes. The market's on sale. How many of you guys are waiting to buy things on Friday because Amazon Prime Day is going on? Right? How many of you guys are waiting for Black Friday? The market is on sale and you're not even taking an action. You're not even thinking about taking an action. When I say Florida is on sale right now, for those of you guys who are in New York or you're in a different state, if you want to invest right now. The three worst markets in the entire nation, metro markets, which are the 50 largest metros from September 24th to September 2025. You got Tampa, you got Austin, you've got Miami, you got Orlando, you've got Dallas, and there's Phoenix. There's people in every one of those markets on this call. The market is on sale. You don't have to wait for Amazon Prime Day. So again, what if you knew what was happening in the market and you knew how to capitalize on it? What if you knew? Would you do it? Here's the deal. The market doesn't have to shift. It doesn't have to, and it probably won't. I don't want you guys to know, like, while I'm optimistic market, it's not going to be like go from like 0 to 1,000. That's not how a market moves. It's slow. It's going to move, but it's going to go up. Here's why. Because it only takes one trigger. Like, how many of you guys know that interest rates are going to go down to 5.5%? It has to. Bond rates, everything's moving the market. Every single person out there is talking about rates going down. Rates are going down. It's going to go down again in December. How many of you guys believe that if rates go down, the market moves? It's everyone, right? But here's the deal. We have multiple indicators the market's going to be better, right? They're talking about this 50-year mortgage, which, by the way, I believe 50-year mortgages, they're not a miracle and they're definitely not a mistake. They're a option, right? People can get a 10-year loan, they get a 15-year loan. Most people get a 30-year loan. Maybe one day people just get 50-year loans. I don't know. I do know in certain countries that's the standard. In Japan, there are European countries that have 50-year mortgages. Some people do, some people don't. Some people get a 5-year mortgage, right? I know that if you're an investor and you can become more profitable and have a better return on your investment because you're a 50-year mortgage, you'd be like, you know what? Give me a 100-year mortgage. Give me a 1,000-year mortgage if I can be more profitable. I can tell you, if I was in a situation where the only way I could own a home was a 50-year mortgage, I would choose to take advantage of that 50-year mortgage. The truth of the matter is, this is just another tool. We need more tools. What if this is a hit? What if 5% of the market, 10% of the market can buy because of a 50-year mortgage? What if we get that boom, that little boom from that? What if we get a little boom from lower interest rates? Listen, I believe that most of campaigns, I don't care if you're a blue person, you're a red person, they're all liars as far as I'm concerned, right? I vote blue, I vote red, doesn't really matter. What I know is that I've never seen ever in my entire lifetime this happen. On November, when on voting day, where we're voting on local governments, I've never seen this happen. I don't care what channel you turn to. I don't care what city you were looking at. All of them said the same thing. It's never happened. They were all talking about affordability, home affordability being the biggest problem. It was as if they all passed around the notes and say, hey, if you want to pass the test, we're all going to talk about home affordability. Now, here's the one thing I believe about politicians. When politicians unite on the same lie, they all work towards making that right, right? Because they all will do whatever they have to do to get votes. But when they're all doing the same thing and there's alignment on that, there's going to be pressure to make sure the real estate market thrives. Because let's face it, guys, when COVID was super spreading and stuff like that, they kept us outside because we're the most important part of the market. If real estate sales don't happen, plumbers don't have a job, Home Depot stock goes down, mortgage companies don't have anything to do, title companies don't have anything to do, insurance companies don't have anything to do, surveyors don't have anything to do, attorneys don't have anything to do. The whole market depends on us selling homes. And every person that was running for a campaign was talking about the market affordability being a important part of their platform. Again, if only one of these things happen, we get a boom. Blue-red migration. I think that's pretty funny. I think, I hear people like, I'm leaving New York. I'm leaving New York. Well, you know what, you're going to leave New York, buddy, and somebody's going to go to New York, right? There's a reason why there's a voting process. More people thought that was the right thing to do. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to have people move from blue to red. And you know what's funny? When I don't care what politics you are, I don't care what color you are, I get paid every time you move. Whether you believe in what I believe or you believe in something else, I get paid when you move. If so, a bunch of people want to move, great. That moves the market. It's another boom in the market. At least in Florida, they're talking about potentially getting rid of property tax. I got to tell you, if that were to happen, we're going to get a boom, right? But again, that boom affects everybody. I'm like, oh, that's just Florida. Bullshit. You've got aging people right now who own their home. They're living in New Jersey. They're going to want to sell their home and move to Florida. And then other states will do the same thing. And that booms the economy. You cannot think in a micro world. The opportunity is too large. If supply and demand change, meaning like in most markets right now, there's not enough supply. Maybe your supply goes, gets even dwindled more because some of these goes in there and people feel comfortable now because they have options now that they're going to put their house in the market. All of that creates supply and demand changes in local markets. And you got to be able to capitalize on that. Then I heard about this one over last weekend about mortgage portability. The idea that if you have a 2% mortgage or a 3% mortgage, you could take that mortgage to somewhere else. You've never in the entire real estate world had so many things happening in your favor to tell you, boom is happening. Boom is happening. It's happening, right? And on a very conservative side, even if the market goes up 10%, that's a big deal. And that may be all that it goes up this year. But but let me just tell you something. You guys remember that guy who did that Ponzi scheme and people were like killing each other to get into that Ponzi scheme? What was the name of that guy? He went to jail. I forgot what his name was. Do you know what interest rate he was offering everybody? That billionaires were killing each other to get in? 8%. They just want 8% growth. We are going to see a monster equity position if interest rates go up and interest rates go down. We're going to see opportunity in the marketplace where buyers are going to be able to be affordable and investors are going to be able to take advantage of 50-year mortgages. If these campaigns that they ran on actually work out, if we have a bunch of migration, which is already happening, by the way, we're already seeing an influx into Miami from up north. If this mortgage portability, it's a game changer. If somebody can leave their 2% home that they're tired of, but they're only staying there because they have a 2% mortgage and they don't want to lose out on that opportunity, they don't want to go to a 7%, it's a game changer. So if you knew, what would you do? See, here's the deal. Not only do I believe this about the real estate market, and the one thing I know is right after things go on sale, things go up, right? And everything right now is on sale. Look it up. Bitcoin's on sale. Real estate's on sale. Heck, even stocks are on sale. This is the last dip. This is the opportunity. I put my kids on a text message. I've got 6 kids. They all know it's like, hey, Bitcoin's on sale. I don't care if you don't go buy coffee, don't go to brunch, don't go out. Take $10, $20 and put it in Bitcoin. Go buy a stock. Go start investing in real estate. I don't care what you got. You don't need a big chunk. You just need the chunk that you got to grow. And it's going to keep adding more chunks to that. And the truth of the matter is, all of you guys have a license if you're on this call. You're seeing the best deals in the marketplace. You have an advantage that you can use your commission as your down payment, and you can structure a loan in a way where you can use a DSCR loan to acquire a property based on it making money. They're an incredible opportunity. By the way, if DSCR also gets thrown into that 50-year mortgage, I will be the biggest 50-year mortgage DSCR freaking investor there is. What would you do if you knew it couldn't fail? If you knew the economy depended on real estate and that these things that are depressed right now in its natural cycle goes into spring? I can tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to take advantage of the market. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I can see clearly. See, all my life, all the cards were down. I've played a game where I didn't always understand the game. I just saw the game and I always look back. It's like, oh, I should have, could have. But for the first time in my career, I'm seeing all the cards face up and there's only one card. And it says advance to go, collect 200. And the question mark is, are you willing to go around the board and collect your unfair share? Right now, what you should be collecting is your data and talking to people and letting them know, hey, listen, just out of curiosity, what do you think happens when this happens? What do you think happens when this happens? Like if interest rate down, what do you think is going to happen? And just guide conversations. And if that does happen, when would you like to take advantage of the market? Before prices go up? Or do you want to wait? See, I only have 33 spots on my calendar that I'm willing to fill, and 17 of them are already full with people that are looking to invest in the marketplace. Just curious, for the right price, would you consider selling your home? If you did get a good price for your home, where would you go? Right now, the conversations you have are going to dictate the commissions you have. And then here's the writer diner. Every dollar you're making right now, we're going to make money so we can spend money on things that make us money. We're going to invest in those same things that we already know are going to go up in the market. I'm ready. I'm going to put my mouth where my money where my mouth is, right? I'm going to push into this. It's super clear to me. It's never been this clear to me that the market is moving in our favor. And you know what? For the most part, we get 3% of the equity of the global market because we had the courage to get our license and we've survived these last 2 or 3 years. That's the truth. Because you survived, you came this far, right? And you are now not even 3 feet from gold. It's almost a half a foot away from you. You just got to keep pushing through and you got to take your unfair share. The boom doesn't need a crystal ball. Housing prices will go up if any of these go up. And with great certainty, I know interest rates are going to go down. With great certainty, I know that some of those campaign promises, some of them will happen. And it seems like every single day they're trying to come up with another thing because they're inspired to make sure you make money. They're inspired to help homeowners move out of their home so we can have a trickle effect in the economy. Now, the question always comes down to the crystal ball, when I look into it, is always clear to me. Where it's always a little bit fuzzy is whether you're going to have the courage to do something. Are you willing to put in more effort? Are you willing to just trade a little bit of comfort for the future? Are you willing to invest in the asset you're asking other people to invest in? Listen, that, and I know, to be honest with you, I know what some of you guys are thinking. Gil, that sounds great. It's easy for you to say. My wife and I were like, you subtract 12, 13, 14 years, we were flat broke. And we invested in a market that wasn't nearly as good as this market opportunity we're looking at right now. And we bought our first property, which was our Harwood property. And we scraped just enough money to get the down payment on that property. And it started the process and started the process and started the process. And we started investing, and one property became 2, and 2 became 3, and 3 became 7, 7 became 10. And we continued to go through. For those of you guys who don't know, when my wife and I met each other, her car was being repossessed and my house was in foreclosure. And we just made some decisions. If you're on this call right now, you don't have to be in that spot to make a decision. But you do need to know what's happening in the marketplace. And you need to have the courage to take some action. You're going to have to double down. These last few hours we have in the year of 2025, these last few moments, every single time you put your face on that pillow, you better earn that opportunity. Every time you dare to turn the lights out, you better say to yourself, I put everything there is into my real estate business because I only got a small window to change the life of my family forever. I'm not excited about the market. I know what's happening in the market in my heart. I am just blessed to be alive, to be able to take advantage of the market that's being decided for your benefit. So you can get equity in there. You know how many people have come for us? Like a year ago, you guys were crying about a form. Like you guys were crying about, oh, it's the end of the world. We have this buyer brokerage agreement. It's going to change everything. Most of you guys realize that real estate agents are actually getting paid more than they were getting paid before. The truth of the matter is that before we thought to ourselves, oh, this is going to be terrible. It actually turned out to be great, right? What you've got to understand is the market is being put in your favor. Put your hand out, put your shoes on, and take your unfair share. Now, let me tell you what you got to do. Right now, this is number one. Right now, the number one thing you guys can do is get some autographs. Go out there and do some consultations for people that are ready or not. If somebody's been living in a house for 5, 10 years, like you've got to put them on the list. Every one of you have to have a list of 100 homeowners, right? And you got to talk to them about the market. You got to show them those 5, 6, 7 different things that's going to change the equity of their home, that's going to change the value of their property, and ask them how do they want to capitalize. As an investor, if I sell high, I buy high. But if I sell when things are on sale, I get to buy when things are on sale. And I will always choose to sell while things are on sale and buy where things are on sale than sell high and buy high. Like, I don't know why people think that that's smart. Well, I'm going to wait till the market goes up. Why would you do that? Why would you wait for that same property you could have bought for 600,000 to be worth 700,000 and then buy then because you're going to have a little smaller interest rate? When I could just get that interest rate now and buy. Who taught people that? Oh, I know who. The same people that taught me for the first 50, 40 years of my life how to be broke. I've got to be real with you. For many of you guys on the call, this should be your wake up time. You were programmed to be broke. I was. And maybe you're not. If you're not, I'm not talking to you. But I was. My little abuelita taught me. My parents, my family, my friends, my social circle, my network. You got to make a conscious effort to break free. You got to make sure that when you're going through and you're designing your day, every single day, you're going to fill your cup up. You're going to read a book. You're going to challenge yourself to meet more customers, to put them in your CRM. You're going to follow up with that CRM, that you're going to be in someone's living room, that you're going to consult with them and advise them that there's an opportunity in the marketplace. And it's a small window. I call it the WOO market, window of opportunity, wow market. That's it. And not too many people have it. You probably don't even know about that. You probably don't know about that, but my rich friends, they all know about it. Because when one person's afraid, it's the opportunity for somebody else. And the truth is, a lot of people are afraid. And I don't care what happens if the stock market goes up, goes down right now, like that. You'll probably see crazy before the end of the year. I guarantee you, you're going to see things go even deeper on sale. Because the more fear that happens, the more opportunity you got to look at it. I remember when I first went into as an investor's house, if I were to see like poop on the wall, if I saw a Nazi symbol on the wall, if I saw like dogs running around, I was like, ooh, there's a great opportunity here. You got to see what other people don't see. That's right. You got to see the opportunity. I want you to know that I know the market's going strong. I know it in my heart. Whether it's good for you or not, it's a different question. It's going to be good for me because I'm going to take action, massive action, in a marketplace that requires it. Because let's be real right now, you are probably struggling right now if you're not taking enough action. And you know how you know if you're taking enough action? Look at what you did in that last week and double or triple it. And it's not that much. For some of you guys, just go look at your screen time and say, you know what, if I just take a couple hours off my screen time per day, there's the room I need for my prospecting. Guys, the time to wait's over. Time to capitalize. And by the way, let's just say, Gil, you get off this call, you say, hey, Gil, you know what? That sounded great. I'm so thankful I was on your Gap Mastermind today. That was awesome. But if you don't do anything, you're probably still going to make more money next year. It's almost built in. House prices go up. You get a percentage of it. You didn't even earn it. You got a raise. Congratulations. However, if you take my advice and you say, you know what, there's one thing I'm going to do on this call. Now that I know, I'm going to get my list of 100 people. I'm going to own that list. I'm going to market that list. And I'm going to get those 100 people that when they're ready to make that move, I'm their choice. And let's just say you only sell 30 of those homes. Well, God damn it, you're going to have to sell it with $400,000, $500,000. Because 30 homeowners at $20,000 a pop at a small property price of $400,000 and they buy and sell, that's $24,000. 30 of those is only 600 grand. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I failed you. But if you know, selling is easy because selling is the transfer of energy. And if my conviction, I'm going to sell a lot of people. I hope you're sold today. I hope I didn't even need to sell you. I just hope I needed to remind you that we are moving into spring. And it's a tremendous time if you get your seeds in the ground to grow. All right, I want to take a little break here because I want to hear from you guys. What is your aha moment there? What are you guys inspired to take action on? What haven't you done so far that you need to do? Do you see this as an opportunity for you and your family to change the legacy of your family forever? I hope you do. So if you guys feel like you want to say something, unmic yourself. I want to hear what you got to say. Plus, I want to drink a little coffee.
Gil, I'll go first. I think this reminds me of to get off the analysis paralysis chair because we've been evaluating properties because we want to reinvest. We sold a 2-family home. We need to reinvest that. And we're looking around and we're like, well, in Miami, we're looking around, well, maybe that property, even when we were at EXPCon, my husband came along and he would look out while I was at the conference and we're just looking anywhere and everywhere. We're not stuck in an area, but I think we're over analyzing instead of taking action. And we have everything at our fingertips. We have the tools from EXP. We have partners everywhere that we can actually reach out to and say, what do you think about this property? Because they know the area. And we have amazing partners. I think I wrote in the chat, I think we're in the best place here and at the right time, as you said. I think everything that you shared today was so helpful to me. I needed that. I needed not only the reminder, but the facts that you presented. That portable mortgage, I had no idea about that. That was new to me completely. The 50-year mortgage, never heard of it. So if somebody has shared it, I totally forgot I heard it, but today's the first time I truly hear it. So thank you for today.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. We only need one of those to pop. If two of them pop,
Right?
even
Yeah,
right. And
that'd
some of
be
these things,
awesome.
some of these things are already in the works to be presented. Like they're working right now. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are trying to rewrite the rules for 50-year mortgages to go through. Like these changes are happening. Well, this shutdown. I always says like there was no shutdown. This is a curtain, and behind the curtain, things were happening. And the biggest thing that most politicians are talking about is home affordability that has to be fixed. And I look at, if you guys remember, I did a Gap Mastermind a month or so back, and I talked about like when big money does things, I pay attention. And I looked at Warren Buffett, who doesn't really invest in builders for the first time, invest in Pulte and invested in Taylor Moore, D.R. Horton, and one other builder. And those stocks went up 30%. What does big money know? And if big money does something, shouldn't we follow? Shouldn't we take advantage of that? Because big money invested in Netflix, big money invested in Amazon, right? We should understand that I didn't invest in my mom's 401k in Facebook because I didn't understand it. I didn't understand not only the product, I didn't understand the scope. I didn't understand the season we were in, the market. But here's the one thing, and this could help you because this is how my wife and I make decisions sometimes. The plant that doesn't grow is a seed that you didn't throw. You've got to throw seeds out there, right? You got to go out there and who cares if you buy exactly at the bottom or not? Like in a market that starts doing that turn, buying here or buying here or buying here or buying here doesn't matter 20 years from now. One of the houses I bought on the worst day in the market, on the absolute worst day in the market. In fact, after I bought it, the house went down 60 something percent. That house went from like $350,000 to $115,000 in a very short period. That house is worth $700,000, $800,000 right now. Because 20 years from now, all that matters is you planted a seed. And the one plant that will not grow is a seed you do not throw. You got to go out there and farm your farm. There are people right now in your circle, in your platforms that are waiting for the education, waiting for you to inspire them to take action like the wealthy people do. Those slides, if you wrote those down, any one of those can make the market boom. But you got to be willing to take action. Action with conviction, which is scary unless you know. In 2008, I didn't know that I should have bought 50 homes or 100 homes or 1,000 homes. I didn't know. Dude, Veronica was a foreclosure specialist. She probably sold thousands of homes. If she would have bought 10% of them, like she'd own freaking EXP. We know now. We know now.
Sorry, I'm sorry I came on late. We had a family situation, but love the topic. It's so good. I really do think we're so lucky to have Gil, obviously, as a leader. I think he's the king of optimism. I'm pretty optimistic, but you know what I love is like Gil is like over the top optimistic, and you need that person in your world, right? You need that person that gives you that borrowed belief and that optimism, and is not afraid to talk about getting his teeth kicked in, a couple times, and I think for me, it's also been exciting to discuss with people some of the things that we're doing. And I didn't get a chance to see your slides, Gil, because I came in late. I apologize again. My daughter had a situation, but we just acquired a property on Friday of this week, of last week, and it was I sold my house. I didn't even know where I was going, and Bobby always says things like it doesn't have to make sense, it just makes faith. And I had no business, logically on paper, I had no reason to sell my house. Great interest rate, um beautiful home, great location. But my husband and I were in a different season. I always say, like, I feel like I'm a gypsy. We're nomads. We're always on the go. Like, and I love buying properties like in Puerto Rico. So I'm like, playing that game. And um I uh I bought this property um without even knowing that I was gonna buy it. Like, it was just one of these things that just happened. But the way I sold my property, so guys, I wanna leave you with a couple tips. The way I sold my property, I priced it at the top of the market because I thought my house was special. It's just like every seller thinks their house is special, but mine was truly special. I did a love it or list it, like I had it redesigned before I listed it. And I was praying that this would be what would happen, a unicorn deal. I sold my house. I put that I was willing to do seller finance, arbitrage the rate with the right amount down, and put it into a trust. And me and the new buyers would be part of the trust. And so I sold my house for 1.5 million. It went under contract in 25 days. I had two offers, one cash, which on paper, the cash one would have made sense. But the one that I did seller financing gave me a pretty significant amount of the equity down. And then I'm the bank. So I looked at the fact that, going back to what Gil said, big money. I looked at the fact that they have two small kids. They want to raise their kids in this community. And most of these traditional, like, seller finance deals will say, you got to balloon me out in 2 years, or you got to balloon me out in 3 years. I said, you know what? We're not going to put a balloon on this. I want you to keep this loan as long as possible. I want you to keep it as long as possible, because I was able to get them a rate they couldn't get in the streets, but it was still good enough and sexy enough for me. So the yield on the rate that we're making is bananas. What it's paying me on it. Plus, I got all the equity that I wanted out up front. Plus, in the event they default, I get the property back. Plus, the loan is going to pay me an extra $1 million over the life of, I think it's actually 1.2 million extra. As if I was playing the short game, I would have went with the easy money, right? So I end up selling the property, closing 15 days. It was like a unicorn deal. I've got like the team that sets up the trust, the team that sets up everything. Everything's done through a third party servicer. So now I'm the bank. Everybody's happy. I'm collecting for the life of the loan. And then my home had an apartment above the garage, Gil, which you know that. And I was like, I don't even know where I'm going to go because these people bought my house. By the way, they bought it fully furnished. I didn't have to do anything. I literally just had to grab my clothes, maybe a couple things. I was like, can I take this? They were like, sure. Like, and we put a pod and I had to go travel to Philadelphia and to Cleveland and I had things I had to do. I was like, I don't even know where I'm going. Even though I have a couple of properties in Orlando, I just didn't really want to move. I said, why don't I just stay in the apartment above the garage until I figure out where I'm going to go and I'll just stay month to month. But what was so funny was I then turn around and buy a house 2 blocks down from my house that was in a situation where the seller, because of the immigration laws and some things that are happening in our country, apparently they just don't want to be here. They're going back to their country. And they sold it to me subject to slipped in with less than 5% down, no banks, no nothing, fully furnished down the block. It's the first house the first model I ever wanted in my neighborhood, the builder I ever wanted, but I couldn't afford it 10, 12, 15 years ago. I was like, that's on my budget. I ended up buying a house for $100,000 off the market value, in my opinion, plus slip in, subject to, I take over the rate, I take over the loan. They're not making any money on it. And the keys were handed to me on Friday, and it's a sweetheart deal. But right now, the deals are out there, creative financing, and like, I don't think I'll ever if I don't have to, use the bank's money unless rates get really sexy again, because I might not even need it because the money on the street right now, the opportunities are bananas. And if you guys are not setting yourself up, like Gil said, to find deals, you don't have to have the money. You just got to find the deal. You find the deal, the money will come. I promise you that. That's my philosophy with business. It's how Gil and I bought a building together. That we found a building, we got the deal, but we didn't know we were gonna get the money, but we're gonna get the money, and we got the money. Yes or yes, Gil, right?
Yep,
Um,
yep, absolutely.
but I want to encourage you guys, like Gil said, get on the phone more and find deals and imagine yourself being the deal maker and also picking up some deals for yourself. But things don't have the society wants to program you to be a traditionalist in buying homes. But there are so many ways that you could do this, and this is where it gets fun. So I know you covered a lot, Gil, and I love that you're excited about the market we're about to get into. And I just want to just applaud you for what you've built, and I love that we get to geek out on stuff like this. And I think him and I have a competition of like who's going to buy more properties, and then it's like, why don't we buy some together? So
Well, we're doing that, right? We're doing that right now. So here's the deal. Like you just can't fall for the rhetoric. And I want to speak to that person on the call right now that has already unplugged for a second. I want you to plug back in. For one more second, I want you to plug back in because I was you. I went to conference after conference. I went to training after training. I went to meeting after meeting. And I heard what I said to myself, same old shit. Easy for you to say. And in just a small shift in what I was willing to do, the compromises that I was making for myself, the lies I was telling myself, like I would come home and I would just throw myself on the couch and I would just watch TV and I would just do what I did the day before. And I had zero accountability. Was I actually growing my family's net wealth? Was I doing something that was actually going to actually change the needle and make my last name mean something to my family? And I just decided, you know what? I'm going to make an incremental growth. And I told you this day before, am I better than I was yesterday? And are those around me better because I'm here? When I say, are those around me better because I'm here? That could be your family. That could be your organization. That could be your sphere of influence. Be a value broker, a person who's going to bring value to the masses. But you have to have information to do that, right? These slides that I'm sharing with you guys, I'll give them to Franny to put in the chat or what have you. But like, you see all these markets that are on sale. You see all those opportunities. You cannot just work on your street or your city or your state. The market's way bigger than that. And for, one thing I realized early on in my life is I used to sell cars for a little while, but I only sold like junk cars that were buy here, pay here cars, right? And there wasn't a lot of profitability in that. When I moved to selling houses, I realized, oh, when you're making a percentage, it's a way bigger deal if I'm selling something that's more expensive. Same way some of you guys, when you guys first got into business, you realize, oh, I can sell a cheap property or I can buy a more expensive property. It's easier, more profitable for me to sell a more expensive property, right? I'm challenging you guys to think differently, to 10x your business. You guys have probably read the book. You've heard people talk about the book. 10x is easier than 2x. I 100% believe that because there's so many things that are happening in the marketplace that are working in your favor that you're going to see a boom in the market. Now, you take massive action, you get a bigger boom. You get an explosion. You get an evolution in what you're doing. I'm not optimistic because I want to be optimistic. I'll be honest with you. That's not who I am. I'm just a convinced seasoned investor. I'm a student of the marketplace. And for the last 3 years, I've suffered with all of you guys. That's the truth. I've suffered right alongside you guys. I've gone through and I've saw my business drop 30%. And that was significant. But I've never come into a year in my entire real estate. And by the way, I've been licensed, I think, since 2005, where I knew what was happening in the marketplace and I knew how to capitalize on it. I too am going to have a core 100 people. I too am going to demand more from my team. I too am going to make sure that our campaigns play. I too am going to use this wonderful gift from God called AI, where I have this relentless admin that's willing to make all of my things look beautiful, sound beautiful, articulate in a way I've never been able to articulate. And I'm going to communicate more often, more expertly, because I have the absolute ruthless instructor sitting next to me, checking on me all the time. It's called AI. Whether it's Grok that I ride along the road and I talk to Grok while I'm driving, or it's ChatGPT when I'm sitting in front of my computer. All of these things are happening in the marketplace. It just comes down to what are you willing to do about it? That's it. So for you sitting on this call, maybe your camera's off right now and you're just listening. Hear me out. I am not optimistic to be optimistic. I'm optimistic because it's the first time in my life I know no, and I'm going to take action on it. And I hope that you take the action with me, alongside me. And I hope that all of you guys look at each other and say to yourself, I was there on that call. I was on that call when I got woke up, because that's what you got to do. You got to wake up and you got to believe in yourself in a way that you haven't believed in before, because if you had believed in before, you'd already be doing what I'm talking about. You'd be leading this call. I want you to wake up. I want you to know that before I joined EXP, I'd never spoken on a stage before. You guys know that? I never spoke on a stage before I jumped to EXP. I grew this person right in front of you guys, reading all the books that you see behind me. Every single day, you got to be feeding yourself, because the opportunity only comes once a decade, a season like that's about to happen right now, and you're going to catch the season right there on the start. Man, what a great opportunity. What a great world to be in, where you see the season and you know how to capitalize on it. Anybody got any thoughts? Ideas of what you're going to do? Did you wake up a little bit? Let me hear you. Unmic yourself. I don't need to see your hand up. I just need to hear your voice. Let me hear what you got to say. Be scared. I know why you're scared right now. The same reason I used to be scared.
Hey,
You
Jill.
got to believe in it. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Well, I just want to say this blew my mind. And thank you so much, Veronica and Jill, for sharing everything today. Everything was amazing. Thank you.
Who's that speaking?
This is Patricia.
Hi, Patricia. What do you think you're gonna take action on with what Gil just gave? What's the first thing you're gonna do?
Well, everything. But for now, just making the calls, helping more clients, helping more agents. I mean, we have a huge opportunity in this market in Florida, and we just got to take action.
I don't want to be vague about this, Patty. Here's the action I want you to take. I want you to create your hit list for the future. I want you to create your core 100 people, your core 100 people that you're going to say, you're going to manifest to the world that I'm going to serve these people. And I want you to put a value of $20,000 per each one of them. If they're a homeowner, they're worth 20 grand to you, maybe more, right? I don't know what kind of home they have. I don't know how many people will come to the open house. I don't know how many babies will come from that seller. But I do want you to write down old school paper and pen, right? It's cool to put it on a spreadsheet. It's cool to write it up on a board, but I want you to write it down. And I want you to believe in that as the roadmap for your future. And out of that 100 that you're going to touch by social media, by phone calls, by emails, by text messages, you're going to invite them places, you're going to educate, you're going to inspire, you're going to celebrate them. You're going to find your unfair share to help. And the truth of the matter is, some of you guys are going to kill it. Some of you guys for the first time will make $1 million in 1 year. And by the way, what does that take? 50 homeowners? Let's do some math.
Thank you.
For those of you guys who live in markets where you have $400,000 values, and you take $24,000 times 50, it's 1.2 million. That's only four sellers a month. Ask yourself. Exactly right. It just takes saying, you know what? I'm going to build a business that does that kind of volume. I'm going to build a business where I talk to homeowners every single day. I'm going to get my 4 listings per month. 4 listings a month. That's what it costs you. When you start working that backwards, 4 listings a month means that you're probably depending on your skill level, are going to have to be a multiple greater than 3 times, 4 times, 5 times that number to be able to get that number, right? If you went on 10 listing appointments or you talk to 10 homeowners, I don't know what your skill level is. Maybe it's 1 out of 10. Maybe it's 1 out of 20. But once you figure that out, you need to be relentless and scale up. That's it. Some of you guys are crushing. You've had great months. I'm looking at Ray in Texas. You know, he had a great month. He had his first $1 million month. That needs to be every month. That needs to become your new standard. That feeling you get when you're like, dude, when I'm in the living room, I'm in charge, and I make this my mission to move somebody from point A to point B. And then you start making money and you start investing that money and you just trade one thing. Like for my kids, my thing is like, when you're hungry and you want to go buy something to eat, don't fucking do it. Go in your Robinhood account and take that $10 or $20 and go buy some Amazon stock. Go buy some Bitcoin. Go do something. Like, it doesn't take $100,000 investment in something. It takes a lot of small investment choices. And then the $100,000 pops up one day. Right? But I'm telling you, the long game is sexy, but massive action in the right season is everything. You take massive action in the wrong season, you'll get some results, but nothing like pushing into spring. It's spring season coming. Again, we're a few hours away. We're all sitting in our living rooms, sitting in front of our TVs. Maybe you're in a crowded space outside. And we're all wishing for the same thing. We're gathered in a space, we're holding hands, we're looking around our families. We're doing that damn countdown with Dick Clark. We're just wishing for more. Yeah. Don't wish this more. Don't do that. Just do more. Do more. Do more at the right time. Because you know now. We only got a couple more minutes before we run out.
No, I think you're right. Every day counts. We think, okay, we didn't get to it today. We'll do it tomorrow. We don't know if we have tomorrow, and I have to remind myself of that. Gil, Veronica, and Rebecca, I have to remind myself that all the time because we sometimes think, oh, you know what? We'll look at some properties tomorrow. Today we're going to do this, and that. But you're absolutely right. Waiting for tomorrow could mean somebody just took the deal that was right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey guys, it's always my pleasure to spend some time with you guys. My goal is to be able to guide you guys. Veronica's goal is to guide you guys. Every one of you guys have a responsibility to guide us. If you're doing something great, I want to hear about it. If you need some help, go to gilramos.com. Press let's talk. You'll see a pot in our calendar. It may not be this week, it might be next week, but we'll get on the calendar. Let's game plan. But the easiest game plan is the game plan I did. I marked 100 people's names down and I sold 47 of them. Same thing I do with the agent traction. You look at my board, you're going to see people's names. People that I'm going to become friends with, people that I'm going to attract. And some of them I will get and some of them I won't. And that's okay too. But I'm going to get my unfair share. I invite you to do the same thing because I know no. And if you don't know no, then you need to study your market. If you don't know no, you need to figure out what would have to happen for you to know no. Because it's such a big difference. Such a big difference when you look at someone and you love them and you're like, I know I love this person. Such a big difference when you know the market and you say, I can take every penny I have because every penny I put in the market multiplies. When you know, it's freedom. So if you don't know no after this call, get to studying your market. The clues are there. Study your market. Make some more appointments. You're going to learn your market by just being in somebody's living room, by making more phone calls. I'm going to pick on Ray for a second there, but Ray made 1,000 calls and suffered, made another 1,000 calls and suffered, made another 1,000 calls and suffered, made another 1,000 calls and got a listing appointment. And then got another listing appointment. Like the reality is that you're going to learn through that. We suffer in winter, we rise in spring. Do not lose an hour. Do not lose a minute of this year. Before you put your head on your pillow, I want you to multiply your future by putting every effort you can, by putting the seeds in the farm and watch it grow. All right, guys. Take care. Be well. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Gil.
Next Monday.
Bye. Go crush it.